Good morning, class. How are y'all this morning? I saw you coming by looking at my desk. I've got all kinds of things up here, don't I? There's some apples, and there's boxes, and there's cans, and I know you're wondering, what is Miss Selden doing with all that stuff on her desk this morning? Well, you see this little thing up here? What does this look like? Yes, it looks like a seesaw, like a balance, something to balance things on. That's exactly what it is, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to be balancing these things, and we're going to see that if we put one thing on this side, what are we going to put on this side to make it balance, okay? We're going to make it equal on each side. So let's choose teams now. Let me pick about 4 kids. Why don't you and you and you come up, and you'll be this team. And let's see here. Come on up, this one and this one and this one and this one. Y'all come up here. Now we have our 2 teams that are going to try to make this balance. Let me watch y'all. Everybody see, and you watch because you're going to have a turn to come up here and do this too. You're going to be on a team. So everybody watch and see what they do to make it balance, or if they can balance it. All right. So I'm going to speed up here because we're going to go through our teams till we have them all done, and we have got to play our little balance game. All right, well, let's look up here on the smart board now and look at our PowerPoint that Miss Selden's got for you this morning. And we're going to be using algebra today to solve an equation, and we're going to be talking about the equal sign, because if I said to you, let's say 6 equals 7, what would you say to me? That's right. You would say, Miss Selden, that's not equal. That doesn't equal each other. 6 doesn't equal 7. No, it doesn't. But what if I said 3 plus 5 equals 8? Now, that's not the same numbers on each side. Is that equal? Are you sure that's equal? All right. And why is it equal? You tell me why it's equal. Okay, because 3 plus 5 is 8. It's the same thing as 8. It's just 8 written a different way, isn't it? And that's what we're going to learn today, is that numbers can be written different ways. Sometimes we may not even know what the number is. It may be an unknown number. But we can work our equation as long as we keep it equal on both sides and find out what that unknown number is. But one thing we have to know, if we have that equal sign in there, and we have one thing on this side and something else on this side, whatever we do to this side, we've got to do to this side, because otherwise it won't be equal. When you were up here and you put a can on this side and a can on that side, that would balance, and it was equal, wasn't it? But you know what? If you put an orange on top of that can, it went boom and went down. It was not equal anymore. But if I put an orange on this side and an orange on this side with the can, they were equal. And that's what we have to do when we're working an equation in algebra, or any equation in any math problem, and it has that equal sign. It means whatever we do to that side, we got to do to the other side, or it won't be balanced. It won't be equal anymore. All right, I want you all to form your groups now and go back and sit at the tables, and you'll see back there that I have got your equation balance sheets out, and that there are tiles back there, and some of the little tiles are rectangles with X's on them, and some of them are squares. All right, do you see those? Okay, if you look up here on our smartboard, you could see that we have that same equation balance sheet up here. And what does this mean up here when you see in this circle we have a minus? What does that mean? Okay, it's like a negative, isn't it? That's right. So we're going to put some things in the minus. If we have a minus, say 5, we're going to put that up here because that's our minus. That's our negative numbers. And then down here, you can see that this is a positive. It has a plus on it. Okay, that's going to be our positive numbers. Let's put an equation up on the board now. Let's look here. We're going to put on our slide an equation. We're going to have 3x minus 5 equals x plus 7. That's going to be our first problem that we're going to work through. And you can see we have an unknown on there. What's our unknown? That's right, it's x. X is the number that we don't know what that is, do we? But we're going to solve this equation. We're going to find out today. And we're going to keep it equal and balanced. And whatever we do on one side, we're going to do on the other side. Okay, what was the first thing we can do? Let's take 3 of your rectangles that have the X's on them. And where are you going to put those? Where are you going to put those 3 X's? That's right, you're going to put them down there on the positive. You're going to put them on one side where it's positive because that's a positive number, 3x. Now, when we see -5 or -5, where are we going to put that? That's right, you're going to put that up in the negative. So you're going to put 5 of your little squares up there. So you have 3x's down there because that's our unknowns. And then we have our -5's, don't we? And then on the other side of our equal or our equation balance scale, we're going to put 1 of the x's, aren't we? Where are you going to put it? That's right, you're going to put it in the positive. And then we have +7. Is that a positive number or is that a negative number? +7. That's a positive number. So you're going to put it with your x down there in the positive, aren't you? So that's going to have then, we're going to have our 3x's and our positive, and we're going to have our, I'm going to show you what this would look like if you were in our classroom, if you can see that right there. That's where we would have our rectangles and our squares, okay? All right, now, what can we do? Let's look at that equation. What can we do to that equation? Do to one side that we could do to the other side. Where's something the same? Y'all look at that and you tell me. What could we do? All right, we could take away one of the x's on one side and one of the x's on the other side. Take away one of our rectangles, couldn't we? All right, let's take one of those away because we have a positive x on one side and a positive x on the other side. We can take those away. All right, take those off of your little sheet and lay those tiles off to the side. And what does that leave us with then? If we take those tiles away, what does that leave us with? All right, leaves us with 2 x's and a -5. 2x minus 5 equals 7. We have 7 on the other side, don't we? Well, what else can we do? Now what are we going to do? What can we do to one side that we can do to the other side? We got to do the same thing. Remember, we got to keep them equal. All right, yes, we could. We could add 5, couldn't we? Let's add 5 to both sides. So let's take 5 of your little squares and put them on there. All right, on each side, you're going to add 5 more squares. Now, if I've got a -5 up here and I've got a +5 down here, what could that do? What would that do? That's right. If you were to take 5 and you were to minus 5 from 5, what would you have? You would have 0. That's right. So we're going to take those two 5s. They're going to cancel each other out, leave us with 0. Take that -5 off of your equation balance sheet and take the +5 off of there also on that same side. But now we've got to go to the other side and we have to add 5 over there too, don't we? All right, so let's add 5 over there. So now what have we got on each side? All right, now we have 2x equals 12, don't we? Okay, now what are we going to do to it? What can we do to it? Can we still work any further? Is there anything more that we can do to this equation? Yes, that's right, we can. We could divide by 2, couldn't we? Because 2 will go into 2 and 2 will go into 12. So if we divide, let's mark that up here. Let's look, this would be up on our smartboard here, this equation would. And let me show y'all what it looks like. At our viewing, it would look like this. Have I got it too close? There we go. That's what it would look like. We now have on the smartboard, and they would have this on their equation balance sheet. Okay, so if 2 goes into 2, what does that leave us with now? That's right, it leaves us with the x, doesn't it? So we have 1 x left, and if 2 would go into 12 6 times, that's right. So now we have x equals 6. Is that a true statement? X equals 6. How do we know that's a true statement? What are we going to do? What are we going to do to know if that's true or not? That's right, we're going to put 6 in the place of x. And we're going to work that problem out, that equation out on both sides and see if it equals. Let's work that out together and see if it is true. So we would work that out on the board, and we would see that 13 equals 13.